I wanted to get involved with Music for Young Minds because when I was younger I experienced anxiety attacks and panic attacks, and I never really knew how to talk to other people about it because I was young and I felt like no one else would go through what I was going through. And particularly in when I was 15, 16, through the night I just couldn't sleep, and they were really bad, and it just made me scared and anxious all the time about so much stuff. And then as I got a little older and met friends through college and stuff, I actually found out that they had gone through very similar experiences, and it just made me think of all the people I know now who I can relate to and talk to about it. It makes me think how sort of naive I was when I was younger, thinking I was the only one going through what I was going through, when really there's so many people who go through the same thing every day.
I think Music for Young Minds is a really good idea because it raises awareness that mental health is something, it's quite prevalent in musicians, because musicians are found are quite harebrainy and very deep and emotive, and with those emotive feelings that drive musicians to make music and be creative, sometimes it means the way that we conceptualise everyday life events they cross paths. And sometimes in the music business, you have to be very ambitious, and there's a lot of competition and a lot of knockbacks. All of those things help to drive people down, as it were, which can lead to mental health issues, especially with young people who don't know how to conceptualise things in the world and make sense of things for what they are, as opposed to feeling the world's against them. Music for Young Minds, I think, can channel music into an area where it's all right to say, yeah, we've all had mental health issues at one end of the spectrum or another, and to kind of work with like-minded people and create something off the back of it whereby we can admit that it's fine to be mental, because mental makes great music.
I feel it's really important for me as an artist to get involved with a project like Music for Young Minds. Mental health and mental illness is something that really affected my life and still affects my family. I feel that it's really important to get rid of the ignorance that people have towards mental health, and for people to realise that it affects everybody. If it's not something as serious like psychosis or schizophrenia, it's things that we all have in our lives, like worries, anxiety. I believe that through music, through creating art, through writing, and through working together, you can create a positive environment for people who have mental health issues to be able to talk and come out and feel like they're involved in a community.
I went through an experience, I got told that my dad had terminal brain cancer, stage 4, which is the worst one you can have. I got told he had 12 months to live, and I didn't know how to take it, basically. So I just kind of ran away from it by binge drinking every night and going out, getting on drugs, making friends with people that weren't really my friends, didn't have anything in common with them apart from getting on it all the time. Lost my school friends through it, and just wasn't a nice person at all. Started to realise my beatboxing, I could go quite far with it maybe, because there's a big market in the industry for it, so started channeling all my energy into that. Stopped the alcohol, stopped the drugs, made friends with all my good people again. And yeah, just better person. You need to talk to people about it, definitely, as the more you keep it up inside and the more you're in denial, the bigger the problem gets.
Music for Young Minds is a project that's close to my heart, because I believe that through writing music and stuff, it's helped me come out of my shell a little bit and be more sociable and speak to people and things like that. It's a good thing as well, because especially growing up, when you'd feel something or you'd be angry about something and you didn't know how to express it, having that pen and pad was a good thing, because then I could record the tracks, record the lyrics and how I felt and put it out there. And then when somebody else hits you up and says they relate to it, it's a beautiful feeling, because you know that whatever you've been through at that time was worth it to have someone else out there who feels the exact same way. It's just a really beautiful thing.
So when I'm always start off with production, and my best stuff kind of comes from my emotions. It kind of comes from when I feel strongly about something. The more passionate I feel, the better I think that I can create. And it feels like a good release. And getting stuff down onto paper or like into a set of lyrics helps me feel like I've let go of whatever's been troubling me or been on my mind. And I think people that know me can probably see the difference before and after the song. I generally am a lot happier. And if it's something that has affected me heavily, I probably don't want to hear it for the first few months that I've done it, because it was weighing on me so much that I really needed to get it out. And that's probably one of the reasons that I make music. It's therapeutic.
I feel like it's difficult to talk to people just because it's something that's really personal and close to your heart and close inside you, and you don't feel like people are going to understand why you're having a down day or why you are in a mood for no reason. And obviously to you it's not for no reason, but to other people they're insensitive. But I feel like talking about it is sometimes a good way of expressing yourself, because people don't actually understand what you're going through until you actually speak to them about it.
My personal opinion on mental health issues and people keeping things in, bottling things in, is I feel you should express yourself. Like, it's never good to have so many things on your shoulders and keep it inside, because all it's going to do is make the situation worse when you're focusing on a negative. You know, I've been in a situation where I've lost a friend called VJ Singh in secondary school. He was being bullied like near enough every day, but nobody didn't know. You know, he didn't let the head teachers know because he didn't want to look like the boy who, you know, went to the teachers and started, you know, people use that word grass, you know, or snitch. He didn't want, you know, he just tried to keep it inside. So it got to a point where, you know, he couldn't handle it and he took his life, he hung himself. That's because he didn't let nobody know. If he would have let it out and spoke to, you know, a teacher about it, you know, they could obviously have things in the school system that clamp down on bullying. 2, spoke to the parents, you know, or 3, spoke to his brother. You know, he kept it all inside, and then it resulted in to him obviously losing his life through hanging himself.
I just think mental health is an important thing, really. I think suffering any kind of severe mental health, if you're fortunate enough to get over it, and it leaves you with anything like depression or kind of generalised anxiety, it's searching for that feeling when, you know, otherwise, I mean, I remember otherwise, you know, you'd be completely numb to every other situation and thinking, why aren't I feeling anything about anything? And then all of a sudden something comes along where, like, the hairs on your arm stand on end, and you think, well, I am feeling something, I am here and I am alive. And I suppose with everything that I write, I'm trying to tap back into them things that I first heard that made me feel like that. And that's the passion of it, really. It just so happened that my passion was music, you know. It could have been anything.
When I was 13 years old, I was diagnosed with severe depression and symptoms of anger, which kind of, you know, when you're 13, it messes your whole, throws everything off, really. And for years, I didn't really know what to do, but I knew that I was interested in music. And I started playing in bands, playing like really heavy rock music and stuff like that. Just really to get the aggression out. But it wasn't at all the right way to go with it, because there was too much aggression there, and I ended up boiling over and snapping, and I ended up spending 6 months in a safe unit which, again, when you're only about 16, 17 years old, isn't great really. But whilst I was in there, I was talking to somebody, because they had like a little school area, and they had a music teacher. And he started showing me stuff like Cubase and stuff like that, and how to make dance music, because that was... I've always been kind of into it, so I thought I'd look into how you make it. And this guy showed me all this different stuff, and just looking at it and seeing how complicated it all was, and just... It gave me that challenge, something that I can do, set my mind to, and actually work at, rather than letting my mind wander to places that you don't want it to be. And that was exactly what it was I was missing. I mean, if anybody is feeling down and they know that the mind is wandering to places they don't want it to be, or they're feeling crap, or they're having bad thoughts, the best thing to do is to give yourself something to work at. I mean, I used to do a lot of graphic design and like tattoo art as well, and that's good, as long as you're actually sat down doing something that you're not thinking about stuff you don't want to think about, you're just doing stuff that you feel good about, then that is definitely what you need to be doing.
My experience of mental health doesn't directly come from me, but it certainly comes from my parent, my mum, who unfortunately she had a very difficult disorder to understand. She had nervous disposition. As a child growing up, we were faced with many, many challenges on how to understand it and how to deal with it. It was incredibly frustrating because of the nature of how she would be. We would find that, you know, from 1 month, she'd be this amazing woman, funny, bubbly, overly caring, overly protective. She wouldn't stop to make people feel amazing, to the next month of her being the complete opposite, where she would just go into herself. One of the things that I found helped me through this was being able to write and being able to be creative, and these are the reasons why today I can sit here and hopefully, you know, tap into you. This has helped me become who I am today, and this has also helped me want to be involved very much in this particular project.
When I was at school, like, the only thing you were really aware of was dyslexia, and that was a new thing, and now I have experience of being a teacher, and you all categorise children, whether they've got ADHD, ADD, hyperactive disorder, a different disorder, and in a way it allows people to understand their issues, but also it can be a way in which you can make an excuse, or you can use that to not maybe become the best person you could possibly be. And if you do have an issue, I think it's better to learn how to deal with that issue and how to be comfortable with that issue, because then you will become a well-rounded person. And I always try and tell young people that even if you do have an issue, you're always going to have that issue for the rest of your life. So you might as well be comfortable, and you might as well get used to having it and enjoy it and try and find positives from it, because, you know, it could be an issue or it could be a strength, depending on how you see it.
I decided to be a part of Music for Young Minds because a lot of people around me have been affected by mental health problems, and also myself, I've had problems with depression in the past, and it doesn't help to not speak about things when you're going through a hard time. It just gets on top of you, everything builds up, and matters get a lot worse than they need to be. Music for me has been one of the main things to help me overcome all those problems that I've had in the past. It's a way for me to express what I've been through, how I've felt, and to celebrate good times as well, recording with friends and obviously seeing the success that you can make through those problems that you've been through.
Through my experience with like mental health, mental illness, my great-grandma actually had bipolar, which I was still like only maybe 2-3 years old when she was still around, but obviously I get stories told about when she used to just turn and flip and just become really aggressive with no reason at all. She just used to switch, and like I sometimes have little instances where I'll be fine and literally 20 seconds later I'll be in like a depressive mood, so I'm not sure whether if like I personally like it's like in the family. Like maybe it missed a couple of generations, but maybe it is there in the family. Then maybe I have got slightly bipolar, because there is times in my life where I have just switched for no reason and I've gone deep. But after a while, my aggression started to turn to music, and within, say, 6 months of my mum and dad breaking up, my songwriting came on, my like whole like image, and I kind of found myself within music because of the aggression being channeled into something positive instead of being negative. And every time I seem to like have negative energy around me, I seem to like use it, and I've kind of like learned how to use negative, turn it into a positive and flip it, and not, it doesn't have to be negative just because the situation's negative.
I think Music for Your Minds is a great way of coming together and like expressing how you feel. No matter what you've been put down by, or whoever's like maybe bullying, or you feel depressed, or you've got mental health problems or anything. I mean, it's a great way of coming together, everyone coming together and being one body and just expressing yourself in however you feel best possible. Like for me personally, I like to express myself in music. A lot of my experiences and like wherever I've gone through, I like to write it down in music. You just gotta keep pushing whatever's holding you down or whatever's trying to put you down. You just gotta not let it get in your way. Express yourself in the best way you can and just live life. There's a lot to live for, there's a lot to smile about.
So one personal experience I had of music helping people through a rough time was a few years ago. My uncle got very ill and died of cancer, and when he got diagnosed, he asked me to write him a song. And at first I found this quite a bizarre request and quite difficult, and I put off doing it for a long time. And then I finally got my head together and wrote it. So I made this song, and I gave it to him, and he was really pleased with it, and he took it to the hospital with him whenever he had his scans to go to, and I think he found it quite comforting. And it also helped me and my family to sort of bring something positive to quite a difficult time, and I think quite a few people were really grateful that I'd done that.
Hi, my name's Sasha Panu, and I'm Project Director for Music for Young Minds. I decided to start the project because I've had my own personal experiences with mental health, so with my family, a lot of my friends, and it was only really when we all started talking about it that I realised how common it is. And I wanted other people to understand that and to feel open to talk to people about it and remove some of the taboo that is around mental health. The focus was for musicians to talk about their mental health because I myself am a musician, I'm a singer-songwriter. So as you can see, we've had some fantastic insight into other people's point of view on mental health, and the whole reason I wanted to do this is so that people like you who are watching now, can understand that there's loads of people going through so many different issues. It doesn't matter what you're going through, doesn't matter how affected you've been, whether it's a friend or a family, big, small, very serious, diagnosed, undiagnosed, it doesn't matter. It's just okay to talk about it, and it's okay to reach out for help. And you can stay involved, and you can keep up to date, and you can help us spread the word and do your own bit for raising awareness of mental health by following us on Facebook, Music for Minds UK, or Twitter @MusicForMinds.